Yes. Hello, everyone. So, uh, what is right, quantum mechanics or general relativity? This is a question which is asked pretty often, and there is no answer to it. Actually, the question itself is wrong. Actually, this is a question which is taken to attract some attention. But what we are not, what we are going to discuss here is not exactly what is right and what is wrong. What we are going to discuss is regarding DGR, that is dynamic general relativity. How does it, what does it say? Whether it says that quantum mechanics is right or whether it says quantum mechanics is wrong, and whether it says general relativity is right or whether it is wrong. So the question itself is wrong actually, because we know that quantum mechanics is right and general relativity is also right, but we also know that quantum mechanics is wrong and general relativity is wrong. A part of it probably is wrong, or maybe a part of it, the understanding which we have developed over a period is wrong. I'm not saying that the equations are wrong because they are confirmed multiple times and they are right. They give the right prediction, so they are not wrong. But it's that our interpretation of the maths, or maybe the understanding which we have developed of the mathematics is probably wrong. So what we are going to discuss today is given in this book, Decoding Gravity, Time and Causality, which I have written, in which I have explained about a new theory called as Dynamic General Relativity, a theory of quantum gravity. So I'll just go in brief about what exactly quantum mechanics says, so that we know that we can understand whether quantum mechanics is right or wrong. So how it developed actually, Max Planck um, described the quanta of energy when he thought that he has utilized a mathematical trick to solve a question of infinite black body radiation. So he thought that the black body radiates energy not in continuous waves, as was his thought in they thought that electromagnetic waves are the ones which are taking away energy from black body. So if that is the case, then it should be infinite amount of energy. So continuous spectra, so infinite amount of energy. So they were not able to understand why it is. It's called as like that is called as the ultraviolet catastrophe. So to solve this, basically, he put the word quanta. So it is like a small packet of energy with which the black body radiates energy. So Einstein's paper on photoelectric effect, which suggested that there is a small packet of energy called as photon, which is the cause of the photoelectric effect. So the light is made up of not the waves but small particles or packets of energy called as photons, and which are the cause of the electrons getting knocked off. So this was one of the papers. So then Compton's scattering experiment, it proved that the typical notion that the light is a wave is not completely right, and he proved that light is not only a wave but also a particle. Then de Broglie provided the description of electron wave and how it can help solve the problem of atomic orbitals. Then it came, this is basically not a list which is in order, but yeah, Young's double slit experiment and its variations came. So that again, people did single electron double slit experiments, and they realized that not only the way a particle, the light behaves like a particle and wave, but also the electrons behave like particles and waves at the same time. So there were multiple variations, delayed quantum eraser and all that, delayed choice quantum eraser type of experiment. So all these variations of the double slit experiment uh, further improved our understanding of quantum mechanics. So Schrodinger equation came, and it provided something called as the psi for the wave function. So it was able to predict a lot of things, and so people thought that it's the right thing, but Schrodinger himself thought that there is something wrong with it. He was not able to understand what it is. Initially, he thought that Schrodinger equation suggests that the electron is basically it gives the electron density, and the electron is actually smeared across. But then Max Born suggested that the equation, the psi in the equation actually gives the probability of finding the electron. So here again, so this was another landmark thing. Then Heisenberg suggested this uncertainty principle, and then Copenhagen interpretation came, and then Dirac gave the antiparticle and the particle, and then the EPR paper came, which suggested the entanglement of two particles, and Bell's experiment came, which suggested that the entanglement is actually happening faster than speed of light, and that it violates general relativity. So anyhow, in this Copenhagen interpretation, they suggested the collapse of wave function, and so what exactly does quantum mechanics say? Quantum mechanics says that the electron is a wave as well as a particle at the same time, and we will come to that actually. Yeah, so quantum mechanics says that the electron is a wave and a particle both at the same time. Light is also a wave and a particle at the same time, and the electron can be in superposition of multiple states, and that it can travel through both states, and that if there is there's a particle antiparticle pair, and they are entangled, and then they travel at different directions, and they travel a long distance, but their properties are connected. So if you measure one particle and the other particle, the status of the first particle is known to the second particle immediately, instantaneously, faster than the speed of light, I can say. So this spooky action at a distance violated relativity, but it was found to be correct. So quantum mechanics says that entanglement is a phenomenon, and then uncertainty principle, which is that that if the electron, if in quantum particle is there, you can know the position, or you can know the momentum. You cannot know both of them together. So the uncertainty in the momentum and the uncertainty in the location, both are having a constant product. So if you increase the uncertainty, if you reduce the uncertainty of location, then you increase the uncertainty of momentum, and vice versa. So this all these phenomena are very well known, but all of them are very spooky. That is, we don't know why exactly. It's like it doesn't make sense actually. So if you think that general relativity is right, then spooky action at a distance should not happen ideally. If we know that we are living in a three-dimensional world, and we know that to a pretty small extent, we can measure the position of small objects. So this superposition of multiple of the electron having being in multiple positions, it was like, that's why Einstein and Schrodinger did not like it, and Schrodinger suggested Schrodinger's cat experiment. So again, this wave particle duality, it makes very little sense, and this uncertainty principle also So it didn't make much sense actually. So we know that all these are true, but are they really true? So is there anything different in it that our understanding is not able to? So is it right or is it wrong? So what does DGR say? Now actually DGR is a theory which is derived from loop quantum gravity. So DGR says what? That space-time is basically made up of Planck compartments, which are one Planck volume, small grains or pixels of space-time. So they are basically stuck together, and there cannot be any space in between the two Planck compartments. So if you try to separate them, then they will keep sucking each other. They will keep pulling each other, and you cannot separate them. If you separate them, what comes is the Planck vacuum, which sucks the two together again. So if there is a hole in between these 8 Planck compartments, then they will get pulled towards each other. Now this is these are assumptions basically. So they are made up of space-time is basically made up of these Planck compartments. So what else actually? So this is basically directly derived from loop quantum gravity. But anyhow, the DGR or dynamic general relativity has very little to do with loop quantum gravity apart from this particular assumption. Okay, so loop quantum gravity. Okay, so this is the double slit experiment basically. So when a light when a wave passes, it shows an interference. So we know that if the interference is there, then it should be a wave. So single electron interference, single electron double slit experiment shows that even if you throw single electrons or single photons at the slit, what we see over a period of time is it is the interference pattern, and if we try to measure from which slit the electron is going, the interference pattern disappears. So even single electrons, quantum mechanics says that they will pass from one slit and all the other slit at the same time, and one single electron can interfere with itself. So then it is basically thought that the electron or any quantum particle can go through multiple quantum states at the same time. It's like a superposition of quantum states. So these are the spooky things which yeah. So this yeah. If you can see this there's something called as a quantum foam. So if the space time is basically made up of multiple small grains of sand of space time called as Planck compartments. Then there is what about the quantum foam? So the quantum foam, in quantum foam, what is happening is that there is a constant production of positive and negative energy particles, or particles and antiparticles. So particle antiparticle pairs are forming and being destroyed, forming and being destroyed, forming and being destroyed. So in DGR, what exactly is the counterpart of that? So in DGR, what is it is that a positive. So here again, DGR, there's something called as positive energy and there's something called as negative energy. If the Planck compartment is getting destroyed, so there are 3 processes basically. So destruction, creation, and entanglement. So if the Planck compartment is being destroyed, that's called as positive energy. If a new Planck compartment is being created, that's called as negative energy. So if there is what is the basic fundamental unit of positive energy, that is called as the T is equal to 0 compartment. In that, one Planck compartment is getting destroyed in one Planck time. What is the basic unit of negative energy? That is, one Planck compartment is being created in one Planck time. So here the Planck scales are very important. So this DGR is basically based on Planck scales, and it suggests that there is absolute space and there is absolute time. And absolute space is what? One Planck compartment thick. So below one Planck compartment, you cannot measure, or you cannot decipher anything. So that's one pixel. So what is the positive energy basically? It's destruction. So if the destruction of Planck compartments is happening, there it's called as positive energy. But if there's active creation, so the C by D ratio, or the creation versus destruction ratio, C by D, creation destruction ratio, is important in DGR. So what is this basically? So if there is positive energy, it is basically that particular area, there is more destruction happening compared to creation. So there is active loss of volume. In negative energy, there is active gain in volume. So in this manner, what is happening is that we are basically capable of actively expanding the space or actively contracting the space. So if space is, if there is a cube of space with 100 into 100 into 100, that is 10 raised to 6 Planck compartments, and here there is more destruction as compared to creation. So over a period of every Planck clock tick, the amount of Planck compartments will keep reducing. That means that the size of it will keep losing volume. It will keep, cause active contraction of that. Contrary to that, if there is C by D ratio is deviated towards creation, then there is active creation. There is more creation than destruction. That means that the total volume will keep increasing. So the cube will keep increasing in size. So if this any particular area where positive energy is predominant, there active destruction will be there of Planck compartments. And in negative energy, there will be active creation, and then active expansion of space or contraction of space. Okay, so what exactly are these virtual particle-antiparticle pairs in quantum form? So in wherever there is destruction and creation which is balanced, that is one Planck compartment being created and one being destroyed. In that particular scenario, there will be no change in the volume. So there are only specific small areas where there will be changes in the volume, but otherwise overall the volume will remain the same. So this quantum form in DGR is basically one positive energy, one negative energy particle. One positive energy particle, that is one getting destroyed, one getting created, one getting destroyed, one getting created, like that. So the quantum form is basically creation and destruction being counterbalanced by each other, which means that there is no active creation or destruction, unbalanced creation or destruction. That means there's a stable volume. Okay, so we'll come to the quantum mechanics in a minute, but this is a very shoddy image actually. But these are two electrons. This is similar to the Feynman's diagrams, but so these are two particles, quantum particles. They may be electrons, or they may be positive energy, that is positrons or protons or whatever. So they will come, and they will basically approach each other, and then they will come at one particular distance, and then here in this particular zone something will happen basically. What they say is that they exchange photons. So there's a small packet of energy which is being exchanged by these two, and that packet of energy will transfer the momentum, and that will cause them to repel each other. Now common sense wise says that as soon as they come close to each other and then they are moving apart, what is happening is that the total number of pixels of space-time is basically, it keeps reducing till one particular extent, and then it keeps expanding till from the subsequent path over from here to here, the total amount of pixels of space-time will be more. That is, there is a here there is an active spatial expansion which is happening somewhere. That is probably causing the electrons to repel each other. So if on contrary to that, if this is an electron and a positron pair, then they will not repel each other, they will attract each other. So what exactly is happening is that over here in this particular zone, something happens which causes active destruction. So there is the C by D ratio somehow gets skewed towards destruction, and that's why they two are getting stuck, getting sucked towards each other, or they. So this is the basic version. That is, this is the basic assumption that wherever there is a attraction between two particular bodies, what is happening is that at some point in some corridor, maybe the entire part, or maybe a small part of a small zone or a small corridor exists in which C by D ratio is getting displaced. So basically there is more active destruction or more active creation. So if there is more active creation in that corridor, the two particles will repel each other. But if there is more active destruction, it will attract each other. Okay, so it all boils down to in that corridor, what is the C by D ratio. So what exactly will we think, will this particular dual of quantum particles look in case of DGR? So in case of DGR, what is happening is, so we know that electrons have a mass actually, and the mass is very much. So mass is equivalent to a very, very, very high amount of energy. So basically the core of the electron, or the core of any positive energy particle, for that matter, there will be a lot of positive energy. So if there is a lot of positive energy, what is happening is that there's a lot of destruction happening over there. So here, this is one electron and this is one electron. Now this is a very, very, this is not exactly how DGR predicts the electron, but this is one, basically you can say this is one positive energy particle and this is another positive energy particle. So any particle with mass, and this is also again another any particle with mass. So what is happening here is there is destruction. So now if the mass is more, destruction is more. If mass is less, destruction is less. Which means what? Okay, if let's say that this particular particle has more mass than this particular particle, so here probably more destruction is happening. That means what? In a single Planck time of universal time. So you can just see that in DGR there is a universal time. Okay, so if this Planck time, in the single Planck time, here 1000 Planck compartments are being destroyed. So in the same one Planck time, here only 550 are being destroyed. So basically this is having more negative energy, positive energy than this. So what happens is that there is much more destruction here as compared to here. So these are two positive energy particles. So electrons have a core of positive energy particles. The exact description of the electron as per DGR, this is very inadequate actually. So the more detailed version of the electron is probably in some another video I will tell you, where I'm going to describe the matter antimatter model of the electron. But anyhow, so these are two particles, the positive energy particles. So they will basically attract each other. So think about it that in a single Planck time, there is a one Planck compartment volume destruction, maybe 1000 such volumes are being destroyed over here. So what will happen is that 1000 times in a single Planck time, this first layer will be sucked inside, and 1000 times in a Planck compartment, these will be sucked, and these will be sucked, and these will be sucked. So basically, these Planck compartments um, are responding in the time of 1/1000th of a Planck time, which is a very small. The Planck time itself is 10 to the power minus 43 seconds. So if 1/1000th of a Planck time is itself a very small, tiny, minute zone. So basically, this particular entity of 1000 Planck compartment per Planck time, here there will be a huge amount of destruction taking place. So these granules of space-time will keep getting sucked inside at extremely high pace. So the thing which you have to understand is that these are not particles. So these are basically Planck compartments, which are space-time itself. So there is no, even in general relativity, there is no restriction of how fast the space-time will can contract, or how fast these particles of space-time should respond. So they can respond in 1/100th of a Planck time, or 1/1000th of a Planck time, or 1/1,000,000th of a Planck time, or whatever. So there is no restriction even in DGR as well as in general relativity as to how fast the space can contract or expand. So we know that after a certain distance, a lot of galaxies are moving away from us faster than speed of light. Okay, so these are two positive energy particles. So here there is a destruction of 50 Planck compartments. I'll just give examples. So there's 50 Planck compartments being destroyed in one Planck time. Here 1000 Planck compartments are being. So here more mass is there. So what exactly is going to happen is that these all will be sucked inside. These all will be sucked inside, and will keep on destroying over here. So the place over here will keep getting smaller, and this will be pulled towards, and this will be pulled towards. So these two will pull towards each other, and then they will merge after some time. So this electron, two electrons, and these two positive energy particles. So it's like obvious that these cannot be electrons. So you cannot have electrons, but electrons have mass. So electron should have a much more complicated model. So it won't be as simple as that. So now we understood that. But the core of electron has mass. So the core of electron is having a lot of positive energy, which means that the core of electron has a lot of destruction taking place. So you understand that if there are corridors existing of C/D ratio being deviated towards destruction as well as deviated towards creation all around the electron, which explain the charge. That means that there should be a lot of positive energy as well as negative energy in the electron. So that is how we thought of the matter antimatter model of the electron, which I will probably explain in more detail in further videos. Yeah, so we'll come to the individual way of particle duality. So this particular particle which is there, let's say this particle has 1000 Planck compartments being destroyed per Planck time. So this extreme destruction over here will every Planck time 1000 waves will be created over here, because this, if you can see that this is a Planck compartment aggregate, and again there will be another Planck compartment aggregate which will form. Whenever there is destruction, there will be vacuum creation. So this is called as a Planck vacuum. So if there's Planck vacuum, these will be pulled towards the center. If they will be pulled towards the center, the C by D ratio over here will deviate, and there will be active contraction. So if there is active contraction, there will be local time dilation. So this destruction over here there is extremely dilated time. There will be slightly less dilated time over here. There will be less dilated time. So like that, there will be a time gradient over here. So this time gradient we can see in general relativity. But here the time is local time. It's not universal time. Which means what? That the universal time goes as it is, and only the local time varies. So if there is active spatial contraction, then there will be local time dilation. And how it is, I have explained to it in much more detail in the introduction to DGR. But anyhow, so every particle with mass will give rise to or create waves of eddy Planck compartment aggregates. They will form eddy Planck compartment aggregates, which will these waves will keep moving outwards at extremely high speeds. So every particle has to be associated with a wave. So DGR absolutely agrees with wave particle duality of matter. But what about light? So light also has positive energy, and so even light photons are basically destruction happening at, but it's much less destruction. So if a particle, massless particle is there, it will have less destruction, and if there is a massive particle, it will have much more destruction. So even a wave particle duality of light makes a lot of sense with DGR. So what about entanglement? So here again the same issue is there. The grains or of space-time can respond at any fraction of the Planck time. So they can respond to 1/1000th of a fraction, or 10,000th of a fraction, or 1 millionth of a fraction. So basically here the information of how much contraction the eddy Planck compartment aggregate or this Planck compartment aggregate should develop to compensate the void which is being formed because of extreme destruction which is happening. 1,000 Planck compartments are being destroyed in one Planck time, universal Planck time. So there's a lot of void which is being created actively over here. So this void has to be compensated. So this entanglement process, these are getting entangled and they are basically being pulled inside. So if they are getting pulled inside, then there will be formation of void just around them. So the outer part will get entangled, and then they will form a eddy Planck compartment aggregate, and they will be pulled inside, and they will so these are the waves. So here the information of because this entanglement, which is the assumption of dynamic general relativity, is slightly different entanglement than what exactly contemporary physics describes. But these Planck compartments are getting entangled, and they will form. They will develop active destruction or active creation, whatever, to compensate for the void. So if there is a destruction happening at the center, then the void will be created. So compensate for the void, they will develop active destruction. So if there is active destruction happening over there, they will develop time dilation. And this can happen at an extremely rapid rate. So it can happen at 1/10th or 1/100th or 1,000th or 1 millionth, or there's no lower limit of that. So the information over here of time dilation is basically moving at speeds much faster than the speed of light. And this is not violating relativity, because what is happening over here is that it is it's just a small portion of space time which is which is expanding or contracting. So space can contract at any space. So there is no, in general relativity, there is no um, upper limit for or lower limit for that. So space can respond at any amount of time. Okay, so that is why, see, so basically the waves which are formed around can travel at an extremely rapid rates, much faster, supraluminal speeds. So the DGR is basically hinting towards the possibility that active spatial expansion or contraction waves, which are called as EPCs, or eddy Planck compartment aggregates. So these are these waves forming EPCA. So EPCA forming waves, which compensate for the destruction at the center of the quantum particle, can travel outwards at supraluminal speeds. So they can travel much faster than the speed of light, and these could be responsible for the spooky action at a distance, which bothered Albert Einstein, and which is known basically. So two electrons with opposite spin and are they are entangled together, electron positron pair. They're entangled together, and they are separated with the entanglement on. So if one is up spin, then the other will become down spin. So this upspin and downspin information, which is being shared by the two, can be basically shared by such waves of expansion and contraction of space-time, which can travel at supraluminal speeds. So entanglement and spooky action at a distance can actually potentially be explained well with DGR. So what about superposition? And what about double slit experiment? Can double slit experiment be explained by DGR? So the answer is of course yes. So if this is an electron, then it is a quantum particle. So it has a lot of destruction going on. So again, we have to start imagining this as this basically. Okay, so there will be a lot of Planck compartments all around, and there will be a lot of Planck compartments. So all this space-time is made up of small Planck compartments. And here, the Planck compartments are being destroyed. So all the eddy Planck compartment aggregate forming waves will start forming, and they will keep sucking from all directions. So when the electron is moving, the wave will also move all around, and it will keep sucking. So the electron is basically made up of these waves. So electrons are having a wave particle duality. But what about superposition? So this electron wave can pass through one slit, and the electron itself can pass through the other slit. So here the electron is passing through this slit, and the wave associated with the electron can pass through this slit. So there will be another wave which is associated with this electron. So this wave and this wave both will entangle. So this particular wave is somewhat similar to the wave described by de Broglie-Bohm in Bohmian mechanics. So it's like a pilot wave. So it is basically determining where the electron is going to go. So if the wave is a pilot wave like thing, then it makes sense actually. So you need not have superposition of the electron passing from one place to the other. So this particular wave associated with the electron may pass from here instead of so one wave will pass from here, one wave will pass from here. Here again, the electron will keep sucking, and all the eddy Planck compartment aggregates will keep getting sucked from all sides. And the same thing will keep happening over here, which forms another wave over here. So one wave here and one wave here, both will interfere, and they will basically determine where the electron would land on the screen, which essentially means that DJR is basically a realism, a theory which supports realism, and then it will basically not give, or it will not support superposition. But then we know that superposition is what we can see basically. So the Schrodinger equation gives us probability of electron being there. But we have to understand that whatever events are happening here are at Planck time scales. So if the electron's position is being changed every Planck time, then the probability that we will find these small changes is very little, because we cannot fathom so small time changes. So the minimum which we can go is maybe nanoseconds. Even before that, we cannot measure. So Planck time changes we will not be able to measure. What does that mean? That the changes which are happening in the location of the electron are so fast, so rapid, that they are beyond our measurement devices. So we cannot measure them. So what we will get is definitely probabilistic. So this superposition and the probabilistic nature of Schrodinger equation, which gives a probability of finding the electron, it makes a lot of sense. Why it will be probabilistic? Because the changes are happening at a Planck time scales. So the changes are happening so fast that the electron is so it makes sense. So it does support superposition, although in the real sense there's no superposition of the electron, because the electron has an absolute position and an absolute momentum at any given point Planck time, and it has a position accurate up to Planck length, which means that it's extremely accurate. So electron has a position all the time, but these Planck times we are not able to decipher. So that is the reason why the only thing which we would probably be able to decipher is probability of finding an electron, which is what Schrodinger equation is showing us, which makes a lot of sense. So what about general relativity? It says that there is gravitational time dilation, there is gravitational lensing, there is gravitational redshift, there is gravitational waves. So what does DGR say about all these things? DGR suggests that the gravity is basically explained on the basis of EPCA formation. So every particle with mass has a lot of destruction, because it has a lot of positive energy in its core, a huge amount of positive energy in its core, which means that a lot of destruction is happening at the center of the particle. So every particle which forms the Earth will have destruction, which means that it will keep sucking Planck compartments. So it will keep forming EPCAs, or eddy Planck compartment aggregates, entangled Planck compartment aggregates. And once one EPCA is sucked in, Planck compartment vacuum and PC vacuum will develop. So every subsequent Planck compartment and PC vacuum, then PC like that. So because of this PC vacuum, this Planck compartment will further get pulled inside, which means what? It will develop a volume contraction, or it will develop a additional destruction. So even now, then this will get added additional destruction, and this will take its place. This will take its place. This will take inner one's place, which means that these basic layers, they'll keep moving from outwards inwards. So out to in, out to in. They'll keep moving inward. So these are all small regions of space-time which are actively contracting. So there is active contraction here, 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 all of them. So the more we go inwards, there will be faster and faster, more and more active contraction, which means that there will be much more time dilation inside, and outside there will be less time dilation, which means that it does make sense with the general relativity. The time dilation will be only local time dilation. So here again, this EPC is, so the gravity is explained on the basis of these eddy Planck compartment aggregates. So these Planck compartment aggregates will keep moving down, and there'll be an active contraction also of this space. So there'll be much more contraction here than here, more here. So closer to the Earth, there will be more contraction. Away from the Earth, there will be less contraction, which is more is the active spatial contraction, more is the local time dilation, which means what? That local time dilation will be much more over here and much less over here. So this is a seesaw basically. So the gravity is going to pull it down as well as pull this one down. How it is going to do? By causing active spatial contraction here, 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 everywhere. But there will be more spatial contraction here as compared to here, more here than here, more here than here, more here than here, like that. So these eddy Planck compartment aggregates get formed just beneath the. So these eddy Planck compartment aggregates are what? Small zones or regions of space-time which are having excessive destruction as compared to creation in the quantum form, which means that there will be a slight deviation in the space-time shape of space-time over here, which is exactly what general relativity was saying. Which is basically the only difference is what? That the change in space-time is actually dynamic. It's not static. It's a dynamic general relativity, which means what? The spatial expansion and the spatial contraction is actually dynamic, and it keeps evolving with every Planck time of universal time. So there is no universal time in general relativity because it had a lot of influence of special relativity, but there is a universal time and a local time DGR, which is basically means that the active expansion or active contraction of these EPCs evolves dynamically every Planck time. So every each of these are basically zones of space-time which are having a deviated C by D ratio, so that there's more destruction over here than creation, which means that there is active spatial contraction here, much more active spatial contraction here, much more here, which means that this will when it contracts, it moves downwards and it takes this place. This moves downwards and it takes this place. So like that, each of them will keep moving downwards, and getting sucked inside. So there's more sucking here than here, like that. So these will keep going down. That's why they will keep pulling the two things together. So the gravitational waves can also be explained in this manner. This is a big machine, 1000 kg machine, and there's a robotic arm which is keeping it pulled. So what is happening is that below them, the eddy Planck compartment aggregates are being formed, and there these zones of space-time are forming active spatial contraction. So if they are forming active spatial contraction, they are being pulled down. If they are being pulled down, there is a PC vacuum which is being formed. So if this PC vacuum is going to be formed, the PCs have to compensate it by going from sides, which means whatever energy which is being utilized by this robotic arm is being dissipated in the form of this gravitational wave. So this gravitational wave is different from the time resetting wave. So this will keep move with the speed of light. This is not exact. This is the typical gravitational wave which was described in general relativity. Which means what, that DGR does explain gravitational waves which are moving with speed of light. So DGR doesn't have much problem with that. Now, what about gravitational lensing? So here is the Earth, basically. So the space-time over here will have active spatial contraction. So this circle will eventually go here. 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 So it will be like with every tick of the universal prime time clock, this circle will keep moving inside. So with a speed which is directly proportional to the mass of the Earth and inversely proportional to the distance. So, which means basically that if the photon is moving in this direction, this circle will keep moving inward. So it will keep pulling the photon down. So that explains the gravitational lensing very easily, basically. So these are the ones which are undeviated paths. So if A goes to B, B goes to D, E. If it is, there is no gravitational pull. But if there is, because there is gravitational pull of the Earth, what is happening is that these circles will keep going inside, going inside. These are basically zones of, so EPCAs, basically. So they will go inside. They'll keep going inside because they are being pulled inside because of the destruction happening at the core of each of the massive particles of the Earth. So because of that, there will be constant void formation just immediately around the Earth, which will be compensated by EPCA formation all around it. So EPCAs will be circular. So as these spherical EPCAs keep moving inwards, they can potentially cause gravitational lensing, depending on how much is the gravity. So if the gravity is much less, like for the Earth, gravitational lensing will be much less. But if there is a gravitational gravitation is very high because of the central massive supermassive black hole, or maybe the sun itself, then the gravitational lensing will be much more. So that is how the EPCAs can explain all of them: gravitational time dilation, lensing, redshift, gravitational waves. So overall, the conclusion which is there is that quantum mechanics is not wrong, and general relativity is also not wrong, and it is probably true, even though both of them are not wrong, that they are not completely right, and that our understanding of quantum mechanics and general relativity has to change a bit. It is not that they are wrong, but they are not entirely right. So we have to change the understanding of the two to understand them. So because they are incompatible in the present state, their state has to be modified a bit as per the recommendation of DGR. So if you modify our understanding according to DGR, then all of the predictions of quantum mechanics as well as general relativity make absolute sense. And that is the reason why I think that DGR is not just a theory which has to be shoved aside under the carpet by physicists, and there is a very high likelihood that DGR is going to replace physics over a period of time, and that's why I think that you should not neglect the DGR, and I think that you should go through the book and also go through all the videos which I have made in my channel. You should subscribe the channel. If you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, if you want any answers to any questions, you can email me on this email ID, or you can follow me on Twitter, and also you can buy the book. Yeah, it is available on notionpress.com as well as amazon.com, as well as in amazon.uk. So it's basically available all over the world. Thank you very much. And there are some other books also which I have written, like this, How the Homo sapiens Blundered, and also this Decoding Human Psyche. So anyhow, yeah, if you like this, please share and subscribe, and go through the psychology videos also, because psychology is a very key thing, because of which is a hurdle basically in not understanding what is written in this book, uh, Decoding Gravity, Time and Causality. So I think you should be able to understand DGR with these videos if you at least hear those videos and read the book. Thank you very much.